What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Smartphone World. Sorry I did not have an episode yesterday for day 2 of the Mobile World Congress because it was just so lame, and day 3 is kind of gearing up to be the same way. It doesn't look like the Mobile World Congress is going to be anything like it used to be, where all the companies go there to show off their new products. We have companies like HTC and Samsung, BlackBerry, Apple. They all do their own events, and they're not bringing anything spectacular to these events anymore. It's pretty much going to be where we find smaller companies trying to bring bigger products out and big companies showing off their mid-range to low-range smartphones. For instance, Nokia. We have the 720 and the 520 Lumia. They're calling the 720 a mid-range, and the Lumia is clearly a low-range smartphone. Let me run through the specs a little bit for both of these smartphones. They're both Windows 8 smartphones, Windows Phone 8, which I'll tell you right now is pretty good. With these low specifications, and it's coming with an updated operating system like Windows Phone 8, that's pretty good. I'm starting with the Lumia 520. Now, this one only weighs about 124 grams. It's 9.9 millimeters thick. It comes in a wide variety of colors. It has a dual-core 1 GHz Snapdragon processor with half gig RAM. A micro SD slot that can hold 64 gigs of memory because it only has 8 gigs of internal memory. It is a 4-inch IPS LCD display with 233 ppi pixel density. It's not HD at all. It's 480 by 800 pixels. So it's not that high in the spec range at all. As a matter of fact, it's some of the lowest specs you'll find right now coming out in a new smartphone. Except for the fact that, believe it or not, that display is pretty good. It actually doesn't look that bad in sunlight and stuff like that. But, you know, it's still small. It's still only 4 inches. Still 233 ppi, and it only has a 1430 mAh battery. Well, 1430 should be okay with this smartphone. Now, what makes this smartphone pretty cool? Well, it's basically the price. It's going to be like $180 off contract, or 140 euro. That's pretty cheap, guys, without a contract. So, I'll tell you right now, I love it only because of the fact that it's so cheap. The Lumia 720, that one's going to be about 325 or 250 euro, which again is pretty cheap for a smartphone that's going to be coming with Windows Phone 8. Now, the specifications on that one, it weighs a little bit more, 128 grams. That's because it has a 4.3-inch display with 217 ppi, and again, that one's 480 by 800 pixels, and it's pretty good in the sunlight. Has the same processor, 1 gigahertz dual core, 8 gigs of internal memory, 512 RAM, micro SD that can hold 64 gigs of internal memory. But the 520 does not have a front-facing camera. It has a 5 megapixel rear camera. This one has a 6.7 megapixel rear camera with Carl Zeiss lens, and it actually is pretty great. I mean, it has the 1.9 aperture. It really works well in low light. It has a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. The rear does 720p at 30 frames per second, high-def video, regular high-def. And this one has a 2000 mAh battery. Not bad. For starter smartphones, these are great, especially for Windows Phone 8. I love it. That's good to see. I mean, it's not spectacular. It's not going to be something that any of us are going to be running for, but it's going to sell a lot in a lot of countries. Maybe not so much in Europe and the United States. Well, that was that. What else is on the agenda to talk about today? Well, I got some good news for anybody that owns an HTC One X, One X Plus, One S, the Butterfly over in Japan. You're going to be getting HTC Sense 5.0. HTC announced it. They said that they're going to actually be, they're doing it right now to send it out to all 4 of those smartphones, which is great. I want to know what's going to be coming with it. Will it be coming with HTC Zoe or Blink Feed or any of that? I really want to know what the new Sense is going to be in these devices and when. Great. I'm glad HTC is deciding to tell us that they're going to be putting it out. I just want to know when. They're not too great with telling us when. They dropped off the map completely with giving us dates because they failed on so many smartphones that were supposed to just get ice cream sandwich, not even Jelly Bean. And those smartphones still haven't seen it from the summer. Great work, HTC. But apparently that's going to be coming out. That's terrific. I am glad to hear it. And in other news, the last thing I want to talk about today is, remember when I was talking about the ZTE Grand Memo? Well, it apparently, some news came out saying that it was going to have the Snapdragon 800 series, but it was going to be a 1.5 gigahertz quad core. Now, that is completely false. We found out that it's going to have a Snapdragon 600 series in it, and it should be about 1.7 quad core. How anybody could leak the information that the Snapdragon 800 is going to have a quad core 1.5 gigahertz, I never understood it. But the new information did come out stating that it will have the 1.7 quad core. It's also going to have 2 gigs of RAM, 13 megapixel camera that records 1080. It's also going to be only 8.5 millimeters thick, micro SD slot, 32 gigs of internal memory. I mean, the thing is a beast. Now, why they didn't go with a full HD display, I'll never know. But hey, for a 5.7 inch display that has 720p display, that's not bad at all, guys. I mean, that's a very, very nice phone. It's going to be relatively cheap, and I just want to know where and when it's going to be available. I hope you enjoyed another episode of Smartphone World. Again, please give me some comments. Let me know what you think. Tell me what you want to see in upcoming episodes, and complain all you want about the Mobile World Congress this year. Again, visit thatsmartphoneshow.com for some articles and my Facebook fan page for anything else that we talk about. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.